Season 2 is here, and we're starting with your biggest weak link, following a program. But the moment volume ramps, Achilles, knees, lower back, you're periodizing backwards, and while your body keeps breaking down when you're doing everything right. The full breakdown, the framework, the fix.
Let's get into the story. It's 5:03 in the morning. The house is still, dark, and silent. I didn't sleep well. My HRV was about 50. Again, my mind was racing, planning, and trying to problem solve, worrying about things I can't control. But yet, I'm up. Not because I'm motivated, not because I'm chasing some perfect morning routine, or trying to prove something to anyone. I'm up because if I don't work now, it doesn't happen. This hour, this quiet slice before the world wakes up and starts making demands. It's mine. Not for scrolling, not for finding my vibe, but for work, for building, for breathing before the day takes over. And I'm needed everywhere at once. 1 cup of coffee, silence, my laptop opens. I'm writing, planning sessions, and responding to messages. I'm building the brand, doing the back-end work that nobody sees, but everything relies on. Then I'm out the door. Session 1, sometimes session 2. Clients who need me to be switched on, ready, grounded. People who are trusting me with their bodies, their goals, and their confidence. I can't show up half present. I can't coast. They need me there. So I am. Then I come back home, and that's when it really begins. 4 kids, triple, drop off. Each with a different rhythm, a different need, a different emotional frequency that I have to tune into. My eldest, he's at that age where he wants me to be emotionally present, around, not just there, present, listening to him, seeing him, and validating him. Sometimes it's about football, sometimes it's about life. And my daughter, she's a little bit more hands-on. I need to help her with her stuff, her routines, and her little world that's getting bigger every single day. My third, he just wants time, connection, me sitting with him, and as we do the drop-offs, I'm also carrying him on my shoulders. His little arms around my neck, his weight pressing into my shoulders, his breath on the side of my face, and I walk. This is what my mornings look like. This is what they demand from me. Not in a bad way. I chose this. I want this. But it's still weight. Real, physical, emotional weight. So when I train, it's not for aesthetics. It's not for a 6-pack or a PR so I can post about it. It's so I can keep carrying this weight. Physically, emotionally, and metaphorically. Because I don't just pick my kids up and drop them off. I hold them up when they're struggling. I make sure they're okay. I carry the load so they don't have to yet. And I do this while running a brand, a triathlon club, and a media company, a podcast, and a community. There's no off season in my life. So when people ask me, how do you train? How do you stay strong? How do you stay fit while doing all this stuff? I don't tell them that I rely on energy. I don't tell them that I rely on inspiration or David Goggins' motivation. I rely on habits, on systems, on designing my life so I don't have to think too much. Because if I'd stop to think too long, I'd freeze. I don't have that luxury of freezing. Everything in my life is designed to reduce friction. So I don't waste time deciding. I just move. And that's the system. That's the protocol. That's how I've built this body, this life, this ecosystem that somehow holds together even when it feels like it's about to collapse. And if you're listening to this thinking, I don't have time to train, you're not wrong. But maybe the real problem is this. You're still depending on motivation instead of designing a system that holds when your life gets heavy. You're still waiting to feel like you're doing it instead of building the infrastructure that makes it happen whether you like it or not. This podcast is for people who carry weight, for the ones building something while the world pulls at them from every direction, for the parents, for the founders, the athletes who are also employees, the partners, and the caregivers. This isn't about hustle. It's not about grinding harder. It's about clarity, execution, and staying unbroken when everything around you is trying to break you down. Let's get straight into it. So let me connect the dots here. Because of what I just told you, the morning routine, the 4 kids, the triple drop-offs, carrying my 3-year-old on my back every single day, that's not just a story about being busy. It's the reason I had to figure things out. For years, I tried to train like I had time I didn't have. I'd look at the ideal triathlon week. You know that one, right? The 3 swims, the 3 bikes, the 3 runs, 2 strength sessions, perfectly periodized. Beautiful on paper. And I tried to force it into my life. Wake up earlier, be more disciplined, stop making excuses. But here's what kept on happening. I'd have one strong week when life was calm. Then life would get loud, my son gets sick, work explodes, something breaks, and the whole thing would collapse. And then I would feel guilty, like I failed, like I wasn't committed enough. So I'd restart, then push harder, try to make up for the lost time, and the cycle would repeat. Strong week, disrupted week, guilt, restart, rinse, then repeat. Training stopped being something that supported my life and became pressure that sat on top of my life. Until one day, it hit me. The problem wasn't my effort. The problem wasn't my discipline. The problem was the order. I was trying to execute before I'd built a structure that could hold the execution. I was designing my week around workouts instead of designing it around my ability to recover and repeat. And that's the turn most triathletes never make. You think the problem is, I just need better time management. I just need to be more disciplined. That's not the problem. The problem is you're building a fragile system, a system that only works when life cooperates, when nothing goes wrong, when you're fresh and motivated and have energy. But life doesn't cooperate. Kids get sick, work gets busy, sleep gets disrupted, stress rises. And when that happens, your perfect plan shatters. So here's the insight. Your week should be designed for disruption, not perfection. I know it sounds crazy, but just let me say that one more time. Your week should be designed for disruption, not perfection. Because the athletes who progress aren't the ones with the best plans. They're the ones who don't disappear when life hits. That sounds like a Rocky moment, doesn't it? They're the ones who've built a system that survives on real life. Now, here's what that actually looks like in practice. If you're time constrained, and let's be honest, most of us are, you need to stop asking the wrong question. The wrong question is, how do I fit everything in? The right question, what's the minimum that keeps me in the game? Because here's the truth most triathletes don't want to hear. You don't need a better training plan. You need a week that doesn't collapse. So let me give you the framework. This is what I use. This is what I teach my athletes. And this is what keeps me training consistently while carrying all that weight. And it's called R.A.C.E. Not as a catchphrase, but as an order of operations. Recover, align, condition, and execute. If you're time constrained, this order matters more than anything else. Because most triathletes start with execute. They jump straight into workouts. But your body doesn't care about your workout plan if you're not recovered enough to adapt to it. So let's walk through this properly, specifically for the athletes who are busy, stressed, and doesn't have time. Step 1, recover. This always comes first. If your nervous system is fried, your sleep is disrupted, your stress is high, and you're already managing a full life outside of training, adding more volume doesn't make you fitter. It just makes you brittle. So the first question you ask yourself every week, what's my recovery capacity right now? Not what's my ideal capacity, what's my actual capacity? Did I sleep well? Am I stressed? Am I carrying emotional load? Am I dealing with something outside of training? If the answer is yes, I'm under pressure, then training has to adjust. This isn't weakness, it's just logic. It's common sense, right? Because adaptation doesn't happen during training. It happens after training, when your body recovers. So if you don't protect recovery, you're just accumulating fatigue with no return. Step 2, align. Alignment means your training matches real life, not your fantasy life. So here's what you do. Look at your week, your actual week, not the one you wish you had, and identify your reliable windows, the times you can train even when life gets messy. For me, that's around 7 o'clock. Before the kids are fully up, before the world starts making demands. That window is mine for training, and I try and protect it. Maybe for you, it's lunchtime. Maybe it's after work. Maybe it's when your partner takes the kids for an hour. I don't care when it is. I care that you know when it is. Because once you know your reliable windows, you stop negotiating with yourself every day. You don't waste energy deciding. You just move. Now, here's the structure that holds everything together. you anchor your week with 2 key sessions. The ones that actually move the needle, these are your non-negotiables, your priority sessions. The ones that build fitness, then you support them with 2 low-friction sessions. Short, simple, and repeatable. 20 to 40 minutes. A simple technique swim, a short run, or even an indoor session on a bike. It doesn't really matter. Something that just keeps you in the game. And that's it. 2 key sessions, 2 support sessions, 1 recovery day. That's your week. Is it perfect? No. Does it work? Yeah, because it's repeatable. And repeatability creates consistency, and consistency creates results. Now let's go into step 3, condition. Now, if you're time constrained, you might think, okay, but what about the strength training? What about all the other stuff? And here's the truth. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do enough. Conditioning isn't about volume. It's about building tissue capacity so your body can tolerate the load you're already committed to. So if you're tight on time, 1 strength session per week, 40 minutes, focus on the movements that support triathlon. Hinging, single leg stability, trunk control, pulling for the shoulder health. Not sexy, not complicated, just enough to keep your chassis from breaking. Step 4, execute. This is where most triathletes overcomplicate things. They think execution means doing more, pushing harder, being heroic. But execution, when you're time constrained, means simplicity. It means reducing friction so you can actually do the thing instead of just thinking about doing the thing. So here's how to make it easier. Pre-decide your sessions. Don't wake up and figure out what you're going to do. Know what you're doing the night before. Lay your kit out. Remove decision. Remove the barrier. Keep your warm-up identical. Same routine every time. So you're not reinventing the wheel. Have a default session for busy days. A go-to session you can do even when you're tired, stressed, or short on time. For me, it's intervals. I'd go really fast and then recover, and then really fast and then recover. That's my session. Simple, repeatable, and done. That's execution. It's not heroic, it's just consistent. Now here's the misdirect most triathletes fall for. They think the answer is cramming more, doing more, training harder. The real answer is building a minimum week, a version of your week that still works when you're tired, busy, and stressed. Because the athletes who progress aren't the ones with the best plans, they're the ones who don't disappear when life hits. And if you're listening to this, thinking, okay, but what if I do this and I feel like I'm not doing enough? That's a good question, because that's the lie most triathletes tell themselves. If I'm not suffering, I'm not progressing. But here's the truth. You don't get stronger by training more. You get stronger by recovering better and staying consistent for longer. So if you're time constrained, your goal isn't to win the week. Your goal is to build a week you can repeat for months, because consistency builds intensity every time. So let me bring this back. I carry my 3-year-old on my back every morning. I don't do this because I'm tough. I do it because I've built a body that can carry that weight. And I built that body by training consistently, not heroically. By designing a system that works even when life is heavy. By following the RACE, Recover, Align, Condition, Execute protocol. That's how you stop trying to fit triathlon into your life and start building a life that can actually hold a triathlon. Now, here's what's going to happen if you don't do this. You keep paying the same cost. Stop-start training, constant guilt, a body that never fully adapts. If you do this, here's what you get. Consistency, durability, progress that compounds quietly. And most importantly, you stop feeling like training is something you have to survive and start feeling like it's something that supports you. Stop trying to fit triathlon into your life. Build a week that can hold a triathlon. That's the message here. Let's keep this going. I'm Abraham Spring.